Yeah, hi folks. Yes, Winston is the best bet for 2023. Now, I'm saying that because of three reasons. One, the other minor parties have devoured each other and have no chance of getting anywhere. And two, Winston is the only person with a chance of stopping co-governance. And three, the mere fact that the mainstream media have been attacking him means he's flying right over the target. Anyway, today I'll start this off with this great message.
Hi there people, how's it going? This is Cross the Rubicon channel. For the past few weeks, and especially the last few days, I've watched videos of Winston Peters where he's been interviewed, or should I say confronted by mainstream media hacks who have tried to character assassinate him. And I'll be honest with you, Winston Peters, I've confronted him myself in Christchurch with quite a few others a few years, 3 years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago. And well, if I can speak to Winston Peters, I'd apologise for that, because now I've changed my mind on him. Especially watching how he's handled these media hacks who've tried to destroy him. And he stood his ground and he's called him out. He's turned the tables on them, which is very, very unusual in New Zealand for politicians to actually turn around and pile it back into these so-called journalists, propagandists if you like. And he's impressed me, and I don't think voting for Winston would be a wasted vote. I think out of the smaller parties, I think Winston would be the best choice, because he's the only one saying right now the unsayable. Let's face it, another person, without mentioning that person's name, has had their chance, and they've mentioned nothing about the elephants in the room where Winston has been. And he's saying it. And I take my hat off to him for doing it and standing his ground when confronted about it. So there you go. Take it at that. Winston Peters, I think he's well worth a vote.
And here's another great message.
What do those rich listers who've donated to your party want for their money?
We're not corrupt like you. You're on this program trying to get rid of New Zealand first because your masters told you to.
I'm asking...
I've got news for you, Jack, and your masters. The people out there will decide this election, and the news for your masters is all bad.
And here's another great message.
I want to finish by asking about
What a
race.
waste of time you are on this interview.
Your
The
candidate...
people want to know what the selection
Your
of
candidate-
policies, but you've just turned into a vindictive attack.
Mr. Peters, your candidate Rob Ballantyne said this about Māori.
I knew we'd go there. He didn't say it about Maori. Stop lying. He said it about the disease, the virus of co-governance.
I'm going to quote Rob Ballantyne.
You're not going to repeat Hipkins' lie to me as he did the other day.
I'm going to quote Rob Ballantyne here, Mr.
Being
Peters.
sucked in by it.
I want to... so he said this about Māori. Quote, cry if you want to. We don't care. You pushed
He
it too
didn't say
far.
that about Maori for the umpteenth time. Stop lying.
We are the party with the cultural mandate and the courage to cut out your disease and bury you permanently. Does his view represent that?
No, stop lying, Jack. He didn't say that about Maori. He said about the disease and the virus of co-governance, and I've made that speech in hall after hall, packed to the wall by a stack of Maori in the audience as well, all agreeing with me.
That might make sense, but for
And we're
one
not going to have
word-
amateur hour with you telling me what Maori think.
That might make
All
sense,
right?
Mr. Peters, that explanation, but for one word. The word is you. I will quote him directly. I've been back and watched the tape. He said, we will bury you permanently. Not bury it, not bury co-governance, not bury the concept, bury you. He was also asked about his comments by Stuff, and Mr. Ballantyne himself added context. He said this: I was not talking about mainstream Māori, I was talking about the disingenuous Māori elite. It's the likes of Willie Jackson.
Yes, who should be buried permanently. In other words, defeated permanently. And here's another great message.
sorry, with the greatest respect, I'm not putting up with ignorant commentators like you saying that I, for example, have spent my whole career working for Maori and other great causes.
Mr. Peters, attacking me is just a deflection.
But I'm not going to be able to
It's
talk
not addressing the point that this is coded racial language and
I'm
everybody can see it.
See, I'm not going to be able to talk like that. If you want to talk to me seriously, then how about we have some respect and give me my chance to answer. I've got a book here I brought along for you because I know you haven't read it. It's the most brilliant Maori, up from Ngata story about the Treaty of Waitangi. I believe him. I don't believe these elite Maori that you're trying to defend, who are self-appointed and who never talk about the most important persons. The poor Maori at the bottom is getting nothing from their causes.
I want to talk to you about the treaty in just a second, but I also want to bring up something that's happened this week. The Māori Party says last night that this polarising and divisive campaign that's being run along these lines of race has resulted in Hana Rafiti Maipi Clark. She had a home invasion this week. This is unacceptable, isn't it?
This is simply lazy journalism.
Actually,
can I finish?
It's the Māori Party.
Can I finish? They
blame you.
You've asked the question, now interrupt me before I've got a chance to answer. Stop your lazy journalism.
Please.
Stop your lazy journalism. This is a lie. The Māori Party is based on race. It's based on the Maori race, and I've said from the word go, I'll never work with that party because it's based on race. And look at their platform. They say that we have got special DNA superior to you. Don't you understand how racial they are?
I'm talking to you about
what racist they are?
The real-world consequences of this polarisation and division.
That's not a real consequence. You just made it up.
That must be unacceptable to you. A politician's home invasion?
Look, sorry, you just frivolously made that up, that somehow us calling them out for being a bunch of racists and superior people who say that we got better DNA than European. That's what he said, didn't he? And all of a sudden, I'm responsible for that? Give me a break.
Well, I can tell this is going to be, this is, it's bubbling over, isn't it? This is all bubbling over.
No, you'll be better informed when this is over, and so will the media, but you're not going to win this campaign.
I'm curious about your comments, Mr. Peters, about that Māori are not Indigenous. Is that because you don't believe in the treaty?
No, because a genius, anthropological genius, and also a brilliant member of Parliament called Peter Buck went all the way to Hawaii as well as part of his political career. He said so. Peter Buck is a genius.
Do you believe in the treaty?
Ngata, Pomara and Buck agree with him. And so did Carroll, the first Maori who came a long way to become Deputy Prime Minister in politics. I'm talking about 5 geniuses who agree with me, and I agree with them because they're geniuses. And I'm not taking it from people who say to me, you can be Indigenous in 2 countries.
Yeah, exactly. There it is, folks. You cannot be Indigenous in 2 countries, period.
Look,
Mr. Peters, do you believe in the treaty? Because it seems to me that by undermining, whether or not Māori are Indigenous, that undermines the validity of the treaty. Is that the point?
What a shallow conclusion.
I'm asking you.
What a shallow conclusion. Of course I believe in the Treaty of Waitangi, 3 clauses, and I don't want them manufactured to be what others are saying it is against the advice of Ngata, Pomare, Buck, Carroll, and all those people I got great confidence in.
Now to a terrible message. Now, just over a week before the election, when NZ Loyal is scrambling for support, Liz Gunn released this video titled Liz Gunn Before Politics, as if being associated with the mainstream media is going to win her votes.
Good morning, New Zealand.
Meanwhile, here on home soil, the sleeping giants of the NPC are set to spring out of hibernation tonight. In the past, Waikato has been accused of being too predictable, but you can't say that about the side so far this year. As Stephen Stewart reports, the Mulus, without the burden of defending the Ranfurly Shield, are now starting to look menacing.
In tonight's special report, reaction to the Clinton crisis. If Bill Clinton is impeached, the people who will decide his fate are the congressmen and women on Capitol Hill. CNN's Candy Crawley takes the pulse of Washington's politicians in this report.
News conferences and briefings are cheek to jowl.
Good evening, I'm Liz Gunn, and this is Late Edition. Tonight, New Zealand cricket calls off contract negotiations with its players and prepares to field whomever it can get against India next month. And a poignant Melbourne Cup win for a champion jockey. But leading late edition, the turmoil and potential disasters surrounding our summer game. There's only 1 month before the season's first big international against India. And after players rejected New Zealand cricket's latest pay offer this afternoon, there may be no top cricketers available to play. Lisa Glass reports.
The announcement may not have been unexpected.
It's all me, me, me.
Elvis loved it so much he bought 2 houses there. Steven Spielberg was so impressed he filmed Jurassic Park there. But what did Kate Humble make of America's 50th state when she checked in on Waikiki Beach, Hawaii? Take a look at this.
That's Maharaja. Wouldn't you love to be able to dance like that, Mike?
If only, eh? I lack the fundamental flexibility.
Keep trying, it keeps stretching. And that's a taste of what's on the Royal New Zealand Ballet's program as it hits the road today.
Now, it is off on the 6-week tour that will see it taking curtain calls from Kerikeri to Invercargill. That's not bad, and 44 other towns and cities in between.
And the tour is a step back in time for the ballet company, a return to its traditional touring roots of the 1950s. Interestingly enough, the tour coincides with the release here of the hugely successful movie Billy Elliot. The movie about a young boy's determination to become a ballet dancer recently picked up 3 BAFTAs, including Best British Film and the Best Actor Award for 14-year-old Jamie Bell. So to tell us how real Billy Elliot's story actually is, and with more on that nationwide tour, I'm joined by the Royal New Zealand Ballet's Artistic Director, Matt Skoog, and male dancer Richard Longbottom. Welcome to you both.
Good morning.
Nice to have you here. Now let's start with that. We saw a bit of Maharaja and it looks wonderful. Tell us some more of what's going to be in this nationwide tour program. Well, good morning, New Zealand, and welcome, especially if you've just joined us, to breakfast. It's Wednesday, the 1st of August. Bit lonely today. Mike is going, of course, to be preparing for the Knowledge Wave program tonight, and Peter is sunning himself somewhere in Australia. So coming up this hour with me, if education holds the key to a prosperous society, a prosperous New Zealand, what does our education system need to do to catch this much talked about, much hyped knowledge wave? We discuss this after the news. The Royal Commission gives GM a cautious green light. Mei Chen's been looking at the 4 books of findings, her analysis of this contentious issue at 8:20. And then we'll meet the winners of the prestigious Montana Book Awards at 8:20. And before 9, books, of course, with Corrie Dark. First, though, here's Kate with One News.
Yeah, and the video continues like that for about another 7 minutes. And here's another terrible message. Gunn expects to get 2 million votes, 50% of the vote.
I'm going to ask you to do something. I'll put it up online soon. I'll film it with Jonathan when we get a moment. I'm just going to say, can you all please fill in this form? And the form will read something like this. I, blank, or Liz Gunn, intend to party vote and candidate vote for New Zealand Royal in the October 2023 election. You take that to your JP, you sign that form. You scan it into NZ Royal.
So you take your signed pledge along to your JP and you sign it, and then you send it to New Zealand Loyal. You've got to be kidding. No one is going to do that. That is absolutely ridiculous.
.org.nz will have a special address. We just need to set this up. And I'm hoping if you do your job, we will have 1.5 million or 2 million of those forms, so that just before the 14th, I can do a piece to camera saying, Chris Simpkins and all of your ilk who are not serving New Zealand, we know, we now have 2 million forms, and we have 2 million Kiwis willing to stand up and say they're voting for New Zealand Loyal. And if you come back from this election and say we only got 100,000 votes and didn't crack the 5%, let alone the 50% we want, we will be demanding a commission of inquiry immediately, and we will have 2 million. I mean, that's the number I have in my head.
Yeah, she wants the 2 million.
We're going to have to do some work to get you there. 2 million Kiwis will stand up and swear they did vote for New Zealand Oil. So don't ever think you can cheat this country of our votes and break our system. You will bow to our will, and that's...
Yeah, now folks, right now Winston is polling at 6%, But I can see that rising to 8% if everyone gets out there and votes for him. Anyway, folks, I've posted all the relevant links below.